What a bar. I don't think I can live up to that, but I'm gonna, thank you. I'm gonna share a piece I wrote after learning of Brett's passing. And I'm going to give it context by saying that there's two incidences I want to recount regarding Brett. I met her here a couple of years ago, and she made me really feel safe and welcome here right off rip. That was a really important aspect of this. After learning of her passing, I actually found it very challenging to come back here without her presence. Her presence was very comforting to me when I would come in. I interacted with her several times over, the following months at various events around town, and then I found myself at a showcase type event, and I was supposed to share like 10 or 15 minutes worth of stuff, and I got there and I was really anxious, and then Brett showed up, and she was the only person I knew, and I was the only person she knew, so we sat together and we connected. And then I had to go up and share, and this was the scariest room I've ever been in. There were, probably 250 people in this room, and they were dead silent. It was the most daunting. And so I had a true to Christ panic attack in front of them. I kept forgetting my words, and I'd move to the next piece and forget my words. Somebody from the audience is like, "Hey man, just pull out your phone or something." And there was people laughing. It was nuts. And I managed to read some stuff off my phone and went and sat back down next to Brett. And she said, "That was great." And I said, "What the fuck were you looking at?" And she was like, "No, when you said this and then this." And I was like, "Bro, I just died up there. It was awful." And she was like, no, you did great. And there were people, it was like standing room only. There were people everywhere. And they were still bringing in tables and chairs from the back in the middle of us sharing. And there were like poets up there literally like going, because there was just no connection. And to such a big room, dead silent. And then I stayed long enough to watch her go up. I wanted to support her, and her confidence, it made me ashamed to call myself a poet, because she was just so bold in that space. And I remember she sat back down, and I said, "Oh my God, I have so much to learn from you." And she was taken aback. She was like, "From me?" And I said, "Dude, you are such a fierce performer." And I left that night, and I committed to never getting on a stage again. I'm never doing this again. It's just not for me. It was such an uncomfortable experience. She messaged me a week or two later and said, "Hey, there's an event, please come out and check it out." And I did. I wanted to support her. She's been very sweet to me. And I showed up, and she gave me a hug when I came in, and she said, "Are you gonna read?" And I said, "Nope." And she said, she talked me into it, basically, and the way that the room reacted to it was so uplifting and encouraging, and I wouldn't have experienced that without her. When she went into the hospital the last time, I think it was the weekend of Sideshow. I think she performed on Friday, and then on Sunday she was back in the hospital.
Yeah, that's the last time we saw her.
And I saw she was in the hospital, and I shot her a message and said, "Hey, bro, I'm so sorry to see that." And I didn't make it to Sideshow because I was at a competition that weekend, and she sent me a message back and was like, essentially, "Oh, whatever, how was your show?" And I was like, "You're in the hospital." And we now know she was fighting for her life, and she was like, "No, I'm concerned with you, and tell me all about it. Who won? What happened?" And it speaks so much to who she is and where her heart is. I've never met somebody with such a passion for this medium and this art form, and I have aspired to to want to be this dedicated as she was. So I knew after she passed, I struggled with feelings, I think like a lot of people did. It was very sudden. And two things occurred to me. She was too fucking young. And to fight for as long as she did was, I mean, just again, speaks to her strength. Also, the impact that she had on me in those, few years, being so young, and the way that she impacted my journey, I think speaks to who she is. So I thought the best way to pay tribute to her in those days after her passing was to write something for her. So I wrote this, and I just called it June 5th. Now, if any of you get annoyed by these things that I spit, you can blame Brett Bartlett. You see, I was gonna quit doing this once after a terrible performance, but she made me keep going. She cornered me at the back of an open mic event and asked if I was gonna be sharing. I said, probably not. She said, but you have to, you're so good. I said, well, I think you're laying it on a little thick. She said, no, I'm completely serious, and you are a great poet, one of my favorites. I said, but my nervousness is too much to contend with. I'm having anxiety attacks just thinking about slamming again. She said, I'll tell you what, sign up. And if you get on stage and start to feel panic, just look at me and I'll smile real big and you'll forget about everything else that's happening and you'll do fine. And so I had no choice but to relent. And I picked up the pen and signed my name on the sheet when it was my turn. I shared a couple new pieces, and the reaction from that room was everything I needed. And she hugged me when I returned to my seat, and she said, see? For this, I'll always consider Brett a great friend, because like me, she seemed quite alien, with that strange and human balance of humility and confidence, and just so genuine. She wore her heart on her sleeves. It was so big she had to use both of them. She possessed more boldness and tenacity than I could ever conceive. I'm not going to say she wasn't weak, but that her weaknesses never got in the way of anything she tried to achieve. She just didn't believe in the possibility of making true her dreams. She was the embodiment of dancing as if nobody is watching. She inspired me to keep driving. She inspired me to keep driving, especially when the road got rocky. She made me think I could do anything I wanted, and she made me decide to try and love my body. Which has never been easy for me. But the way she spoke of the skin she was given, not as a burden, but a reward for the life we're living. She helped to change the synapses in my brain to embrace with love and tenderness what I see in my mirror every day. I'm going to remember her always. The hardest part is going to be performing and getting nervous and searching the crowd for her face and not finding it. I guess I'll just close tight my eyelids and I'll picture her smiling real big. And I'll be comforted. Thank you, Brett. You are a gift I never expected to get, because many times when I needed a friend, you were magically present. I've never really been sure about an afterlife, but now there's no doubt in my mind, because if it didn't exist before for you, God surely had to build a heaven. Thank you.